Welcome back, everybody, to College Recruiting with Jill Hicks. If you're new to JH Consulting, hello to you. I am Jill. I've been around the gymnastics recruiting world since I was very young. I got recruited to Oregon State at 17 years old and couldn't do gymnastics anymore after I received that scholarship. And then I was invited to stay and be one of the student coaches. And then I moved into an assistant position and eventually became a head coach. And then I started JH Consulting because I saw a real need for families who just needed help on all different levels of the recruiting process. So I hope you enjoy today because I know a lot of you out there who are 2025's, it has been and is right now very difficult to have hope. I think a lot of college coaches are a little bit quiet right now for 25's, even the 26's, some of you 26's. So for a variety of reasons, you might be wondering, is it too late for me? And how can JH Consulting actually help you? So we are getting some calls from parents. In fact, today I have gotten a few, and the parents are wondering if it's too late and will their gymnasts still get recruited? So here's some facts. Some seniors or 2025's may not get recruited until spring. So how do I know that? Because I've been doing this for so long and it happens. Don't worry so much about admissions if you're thinking, well, how am I going to get in? A lot of times the college coaches will be able to help you. But recruiting does happen all the way through spring and summer before school starts. So try to stay patient and stay hopeful. Also, a lot will depend on the schools you are targeting. So some schools don't even start recruiting till right now for seniors. Other schools may look like they're completely finished, but things could open up. So there's a lot of variance in recruiting, and we see it all the time. There's so many ways to get connected, to get recruited. Also, a lot will depend on how you have marketed yourself to the college coaches. So what do I mean by marketing yourself? We see a lot of times when we start with a client that sometimes gymnasts don't even post their best assets because they're waiting for it to become more perfect. And so we can look real quickly at your Instagram through a coach's lens, because many of our advisors have been coaches, and kind of see what some of the holes might be that you might not be aware of. Also, a lot will depend, of course, on what I say all the time, your skills, scores, and start values. So the 3 S's are undeniable. So you may think you have 10.0 start values, but those might be 10.0 start values for level 10. You might think, well, I have a 10.1 start value for level 10, so I should be fine for college. And that's not always necessarily true. So we take a look at all those things and help you understand maybe where some of the holes are in your skill scores and start values, and how we can make adjustments to make you more marketable. So if you have been injured, or you've just now been able to add in your upgrades, or you just need to compete because you haven't for a couple of years and show the college coaches your true potential, you could still be recruited. Now, I'm not trying to put that kind of information out there, to get business. That's not at all what I would do. It's just not who I am. But what I'm trying to say is, if some of these things are question marks for you and you think you might need some help to fill these holes or gaps, or things you've held back on, or maybe you haven't been aware of. I mean, I think being the athlete trying to get recruited can look very different than us looking at your situation and giving you a perspective that you might not have thought about. That can really change your recruiting. And you may still get recruited. And what would happen as far as JH Consulting if you wanted to come and to our business here and start, maybe just do a short-term plan. And we would start by getting to know you. Then we would evaluate what you have already done, who you have contacted. We would look at your whole situation, your videos, your skills, your start values. We're not going to take away. Think some girls are afraid we'll take certain schools off their list. Um, we certainly don't want to be a business that does that, but what we do try to do is get more schools on your list that we think will take a hard, serious look at you. And once we can generate some of that energy, then we find some girls do get recruited by some of their dream teams. But we just don't want you to miss an opportunity, especially 2025's, when we know a lot of those opportunities are going to be slimmer because of these changes in the rules with the roster sizes. So we try to keep a whole balance. We like to keep some of your dream teams, but we really like to generate some energy with your realistic teams. We'll take a look at your videos. We'll look at your emails. We'll share with you everything we know about what's going on out there. But most importantly, we want you to start making contact with college coaches that are still recruiting, and then we will start making contact on your behalf. Now, we don't make a big advertisement out of that because we want to know that you as an athlete have worked really hard at the recruiting process first, and we want to know that you've marketed yourself and tried to do that, and that you've gone to summer camps, you've gone to fall clinics, and we want to be sure that your academics are matching up with the schools that you desire. And then we will start to make contact with college coaches to find out exactly what they might be thinking on your behalf. And we obviously don't want to do this unless we think it's going to be a really good match, or we get that feedback from you that, okay, this would be a coach to, you as the athlete have worked really hard on your end, and now it's our turn to work hard on your behalf. And we actually love that the college coaches feel comfortable talking to us, and their feedback can really help move your recruiting. And parent and gymnast are often extremely grateful when we can get any kind of feedback, even if it's negative, even if it's a coach that says, yeah, we're done, or we have looked at her stuff, her best events aren't the events that we need, or anything like that. Because I feel like a lot of girls out there have done a lot of hard work, and they have gone to camps. And I had a family that contacted me a few days ago, and I looked up her Instagram, and I could see that she had been to some really good camps that I think are in her range, but she just didn't get chosen. So we need to find out why. We need to find out, was it just too late, or was it a certain skill? Was it, could be anything. But I think what families so appreciate when they hire us is that we at least get some information, which often can get the ball rolling. And if there's any confusion in your recruiting and a coach just overlooks something, we can then have that connection and share maybe what needed to be shared to get them to see you in a different light. There can be multiple reasons an athlete is not getting responses. Another one of my clients yesterday said, I was getting a whole lot of likes from a school. I then went to her camp and the likes stopped. Does that mean they don't like me anymore? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, it makes total sense from a high schooler's perspective, right? But I know as a college coach that there could be so many reasons that the likes stopped. It could be somebody else took over the recruiting, a different staff member, or somebody else took over that athlete's recruiting, and they aren't on social media as much. So they aren't going to be liking your stuff, but they're still interested in you overall. And that would be something I would ask. In fact, today I asked a college coach, hey, this athlete's asking me why you're liking her stuff, but she's not sure you're still even recruiting for her year. And the coach will usually let me know. And then I can let the parent and athlete know. And then we can either keep working on that school or move on. So those are the things we try to do at JH Consulting, really almost anything and everything. If you're doing the work on your end and you are showing that you've put the effort directly as an athlete to the college coaches, then we are going to jump in with both feet and do everything we can to get this moving for you. All right, so I know it can be very confusing, but 2025s are still going to be recruited. You just have to get out there and compete well, be competitive, make sure you shine, and show them that you are good enough. So then when things do open up and their rosters, they know they can only have the 20, but they're going to have some sprinkled spots everywhere, or a lot of schools will. Some won't, but some will, that they don't even know are going to open up just because things can change. You need to stay in the game, and hopefully we can find those things out for you as much as possible and really be an asset to 2025's and 2026's. So we're happy to help in any way we can. Just go to jhicksconsulting.com, click on Get Started, fill out the forms page, and one of our advisors will give you a call. And we really do look forward to working with all different scenarios, situations, and we do realize that we aren't perfect. We can't always match you with the perfect school or your dream school, but we certainly are going to put in the time, and our relationships we've built with college coaches can be a huge asset in the recruiting process, just to give you a little bit of hope and a little bit of inspiration to keep going. And I think a lot of 2025s, that's really all they're asking for, is, okay, help me stay positive. Help me keep pushing through this. And honestly, I think those are the kind of athletes that in the end do find a really great connection, a really great spot, and just the right fit. And remember, you never want to sacrifice your academics for a university choice. You always want to be at a school that you would choose to go to even without sports. And I think that's going to become more and more important as we work through these new rule changes and the roster spot limits to 20. And I did hear that it's possible some schools will be able to opt out. We don't know why or what that's going to look like. There's been no details on it, but there might be schools that are going to have more than 20 on their teams if they opt out of the 20 roster spot situation. So as we get more information, which, like, I think it was October, I want to say 9th, some new information came out about the National Letter of Intent. And I didn't really know it until I looked it up right before. And I had been saying all that time that we were going to use the old NLI contracts, but it turns out, nope, they used the new situation. They're called financial aid, something, FAA, I believe now. So it's all changing right before us every single day, and we will get the information as soon as we can, of course. But I think a lot of this is going to shake out and become really clear by right around April. But until then, we'll stay in contact with coaches and try to get as much information as we can. We don't know about the profit sharing, how that's going to work in the contracts or the NILs. All of those kind of things are still a little bit new for the sport of gymnastics. Football and basketball, remember, drive all of this and that lawsuit. So we will keep our ears open and try to get you as much information as possible. But my understanding is the old National Letter of Intent, which was on Wednesday, not utilized. This new one looked pretty similar. So it was just a different title. All right, so no worries there, and hang in there. 25s and 26s that feel like college recruiting has gotten a little quiet. I've heard from a few top teams that told me last week we're still recruiting 2026's. So a lot of schools will be still recruiting, even though you saw all those girls maybe signing. Don't panic. Uh, your time will come. And remember, if you do a good job and you compete well, college coaches are going to find a way to somehow, hopefully, get you on their teams. All right. So be encouraged, stay hopeful, and let us know if you'd like to work with JH Consulting and need a little help or a little boost.